Tonight, the Electoral Commission fights back strongly on claims of incompetence in ballot shortfall saga, insisting the political parties are spreading mischief.
The Commission urges the general public and especially our political parties to disregard acts of mischief by persons whose only objective is to malign the Commission and sow seeds of mistrust and doubts. The memo in circulation demonstrates the Commission's resolve to operate above board and in a transparent and accountable manner.
More as the NDC accuses the EC of causing financial loss to the state from errors in printing of ballot papers, but political parties object to Electoral Commission's decision to appoint coalition agents to constituency and regional coalition centers, as the parties say the move violates the Commission's own CI.
Did your returning officers tell you they were tired, they were incompetent, so they could not collate? That is why the Commission decided that they were going to appoint constituency coalition officers for them.
We'll tell you all about what transpired at today's IPAC meeting here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. And tonight, the Electoral Commission is fighting back on claims of incompetence on the back of the announcement of some shortfalls in ballots meant for 5 constituencies in the Volta region. It is accusing political parties of engaging in mischief with the development. Now, the EC announced yesterday that there has been a shortfall of presidential and parliamentary ballot papers meant for Keta, Ketu North, Ho Central, Hohoi and Ho West constituencies, all in the Volta region. Now, the Commission says it has moved swiftly to address the issue, printing additional ballot at Act Commercial Printing House. The political parties, notably the NDC, took on the EC for the mishap, blaming the Elections Management Body for what it calls another avoidable error. But the EC won't take any of that. Here is Deputy Chairperson of the EC in charge of corporate service, Dr. Bosman Asari, speaking at an IPAC meeting earlier today.
The Commission's attention has been drawn to a memo written to political parties and some of our printing houses, informing them about shortfalls and some discrepancies with the ballot papers sent to 2 of our regions, the Bono and Volta. The said memo is circulating on social media. We wish to inform our political parties and all the observers here that it is part of the transparent and accountability mechanisms of the Electoral Commission, because the Commission directed its regional and district levels as well as the Commission staff to review and verify ballot papers received to ensure their accuracy and to guarantee that they tally with the ballot statistics provided to the printers and political parties. This is a standard procedure of the Commission. It is important to note that this additional verification unearths any issues with the ballots and enable corrections to be made ahead of the elections. As stated, this is a standard procedure and it is to ensure that all ballot papers are accurate and intact on the election day. This is a further layer of accountability that the Commission employs in the printing and distribution of ballot papers. The essence, as noted, is to ensure full accountability of the ballots and to make sure that the ballots sent to the regions are accurate. It is important to note that in the spirit of transparency, the Commission notifies the political parties and presidential candidates to enable them inform their agents to observe the reprinting of the ballot as well as the destruction of the faulty ballot papers. The question is, who discovered it and who is requesting for a reprint? The Commission has nothing to hide. Why would the Commission inform political parties in writing if it has something to hide? It is the Commission staff at the regional level that discovered and reported back to the Commission. It is the Commission that ordered the reprinting and informed the political parties and the presidential candidates. The Commission had nothing to hide. This is the procedure in place, and it is the Commission which is requesting a reprint of the shortfall in the presence of the agents not any political party. For the benefit of the general public, similar shortfalls and discrepancies were discovered and reported back to the head office by our regional directors. The shortfalls occurred in Greater Accra, Western North, Upper West, Western and Bono East regions. So the Volta region and the Bono region are not the exceptions. The political parties were also informed in writing and the reprinting was done. Why the noise about the shortfall for only the Volta region? If the commission had anything to hide, it would not transparently call for a reprint of ballots to make up for the shortfalls. The commission urges the general public and especially our political parties to disregard acts of mischief by persons whose only objective is to malign the commission and sow seeds of mistrust and doubts. The memo in circulation demonstrates the commission's resolve to operate above board and in a transparent and accountable manner.
Dr. Bosman Asare is Deputy Chairperson of the EC in charge of corporate service there. Now, in fact, in the last few hours, the EC has released a press statement on the development, and my colleague Kweku Asante, who is a member of our political desk here at Joy News, is joining me in studio with details. Kweku, what does the statement say?
Well, that's like a top-up to Dr. Bosman Asare's statement at that IPAC meeting. It says the Commission wishes to inform the general public that as part of its transparency and accountability arrangements, staff at the regional and district levels are directed by the Commission to review and verify all ballot papers received by them to guarantee their accuracy and to ensure that they tally with the ballot statistics provided to the printers and political parties. This is a standard procedure of the Commission. This is a further layer of accountability that the Commission employs in the printing and distribution of ballot papers. It is important to know that in the spirit of transparency and accountability, the Commission notifies the political party to ensure that their agents observe the reprinting of the shortfalls of ballot papers and distractions of faulty ballot papers. The question is, who discovered these shortfalls and who is requesting for a reprint? It continues to say that for the benefit of the general public, similar shortfalls and discrepancies were discovered and reported back to the Commission by our regional directors upon inspection of the ballot papers dispatched ahead of the December 2024 election. These shortfalls occurred in the Greater Accra region, Western North region, Upper West region, Western region, and the Bono East region, and the political parties were duly informed. The EC says it is not just the Volta region that these issues happened, and they have duly notified political parties and they're working on same brace.
Okay, all right. So that's the statement from the EC there. Also at the IPAC meeting today, some political parties raised objections to the Electoral Commission's decision to appoint coalition agents to both constituency and regional coalition centers. The agents, according to the EC, are supposed to aid the constituency and regional returning officers in the coalition of results, but the political parties are raising objection to the move. We'll hear from them shortly, but first, listen to Deputy Commissioner in charge of corporate services, Dr. Bosman Asare, again on the key decisions the EC has taken with regards to accreditation and coalition ahead of the elections.
In terms of accreditation, political party accreditation at the coalition centers, political parties and presidential candidates will be given accreditation for 2 agents at the coalition centers, at the constituency coalition center and the regional coalition center. So political parties, presidential candidates will be given 2 agents. So at the constituency coalition center, political parties will have 2 agents. The same applies to the regional coalition center. Domestic and international observers will also be given accreditation at the constituency coalition and the regional coalition centers. And here again, only accredited persons and organizations will be allowed into the coalition centers, both the regional and the constituency. The national as well, if you are not accredited, you will not be allowed. The media will be allowed to cover the accreditation, to cover the coalition at the constituency, the regional and the national levels. But the number of media houses to be allowed to cover these activities, the EC is still in discussions.
Well, so that is the EC chairperson, the deputy EC chair there in charge of corporate services. But some of the political parties say this is unacceptable, but a violation of the EC's own regulations. Listen to the Director of Elections for the NDC, Dr. Omane Boama.
And once again, I get to the causes of things. Did your returning officers tell you they were tired? They were incompetent, so they could not collate. That is why the commission decided that they were going to appoint constituency coalition officers for them. And I wish that we all have copies of the document you read. Lots of contradictory statements in there. If I tie it together with CI 127, in one breath, they are supposed to be assisting the returning officers. In another breath, they are supposed to be independently collating electronically. Whilst the people that they are supposed to be assisting in collating manually. At the end of the day, whose own reigns supreme? Is it the returning officer that CI 127 knows explicitly, or it is the constituency coalition officer, which is what you are deciding? Because remember that the law that you quoted, Revelation
3b.
3b, any other person to assist the returning officer as determined by the commission. Permit my saying, you are going under the residual and rubric of any other person to insert constituency coalition officer there. When actually, where I think you are importing that from is Revelation 38, which will be looking at the regional coalition officer. But even in appointing a regional coalition officer, don't you think you should have consulted political parties?
No.
No.
I think you were asking, you finish your question so that we'll respond to you.
Because that is saying that any other person that the commission may, in consultation with the political parties, determine as a regional coalition officer in each of the regions in Ghana.
So that is the NDC's Director of IT and Elections, the Dr. Omane Buama. Let's take you straight to the EC's headquarters and bring in my colleague James Aveji, who has been at the headquarters all day monitoring the meeting and all of the development happening there. Kwesi Aveji is with me on the line. Kwesi, the indication is that the NDC is not alone in objecting this. Which of the parties have shared similar concerns, and what did they say?
Well, Brace, the rep for the GCPP, Citizen Ato Dadzie, has thrown his weight behind the NDC, raising questions about the formula that the EC, if you listen closely to the Electoral Commission's position on why they have made this appointment, they say that the persons will be using this new appointment. Third persons will be using some Excel sheets to collate the results as well. They have been asking the EC to give some more clarifications on that. Again, it was the Nana Yao Sapon, who is special aide to independent candidate Alan Kojo Tremating, who has been asking the EC, reminding them that they have a duty to gain the confidence of citizens in the coalition of the results, so we do not have, in his own words, 3 different results at the end of the day like we had in 2020. And so the EC needed to give some more clarification on that and make sure that every decision they are taking in these dire days to the election corresponds with their own CI as well as the Constitution, just as the NDC has been written. So those two parties have been giving some backing to the concerns of the NDC.
Has the EC provided any justification to this?
Well, Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations, Samuel Tete, he says that the EC is convinced that the work of this newly appointed, coalition agent is needed to aid the returning officers as well as guarantee a credible result at the end of the day. We can listen to him make that as well as other explanations to why it has become important to appoint these officers.
At the polling station level, you either get the Form 8A or 8B. That is the parliamentary and the presidential. So at the close of poll, when the declaration of results form the statement of pool and declaration of resource funds, that's the 8A and 8B, are filled and the agents sign, the presiding officer is expected under police escort to send these two forms to the constituency collation center. What he does is that he is expected to submit those forms to the returning officer, not the constituency collation officer. The two individuals, the returning officer and the constituency collation officer, will be working independently, but the presiding officer gives the form to the returning officer. So that the returning officer does his manual calculation on the collation sheet. So he enters his figures and he gives either the form 8A or B to the constituency collation officer, and he is also expected to enter it on the Excel sheet. When the two are done, then they will compare to find out if there are some discrepancies, because
So that's the deputy chair of the EC there, giving us explanation as to what really this will be. Let me bring in Tanko Computer, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is deputy director of IT and elections for the NDC. He's joining us on the phone lines now. I'm grateful to you for joining us, Dr. Tanko. This is the EC. This is the EC explaining what really the two officers will do. It's about ensuring that, as they have promised Ghanaians, they deliver a credible election. Isn't this cogent enough?
Let me say good evening to your cherished listeners and to you yourself. You see, this EC, they are always looking for trouble for themselves. And then when they bring the trouble and we are trying to explain things to them, then they create news out of it. This trouble, they are bringing it upon themselves. There is nothing like collation officers in the constituency. Nothing like that in the CI. They themselves admitted it during the IPAC meeting today, that yes, clearly there is nothing like that. You are appointing somebody to assist a returning officer, and then you go and style the person as collation officer. What does that mean? You are conflicting the role of the returning officer himself with such an assistant you are bringing. That role the assistant is playing is not a new thing. In all our elections, by elections we go, there has been always officers who enter Excel spreadsheet. When the collation returning officer announces the results, and the collation officers who sit with the returning officer. In fact, these are the officers, they are just assistants to him, who will be entering the collation form. Then those who now enter the Excel spreadsheet and project it on the screen for people to see. These are the people they want to call as collation officers. That's why they created a confusion for themselves. That's what we are telling them. My boss, Dr. Manibwama, we told them that nomenclature you are creating is the one creating the confusion.
So your issues are with the title.
Yes, there shouldn't be collation of it because the law frown on it. The one who is to do the collation is the returning officer. These people are just assisting the returning officer. And that's why Tete, he understood it well. That's why he explained it that, look, ideally, when the presiding officer comes with his pink sheet, he hands them over to the returning officer because he's the one who collects the results.
But if you know they have always been in the system, but for the fact that they are trying to create a certain nomenclature for them, why then create a fuss about it if they have always been there and they will help the EC deliver a credible election?
Why did we do it? When they were they not delivering credible elections? What is new about them that they are now the people who are coming to give you credible elections? We are saying that giving them a title collation officers, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Don't go and be creating nomenclature. That will create problem for it. Those people are not collation officers. They are best, you can describe them as desktop officers. If they give them desktop officers, they are more or less sedentary officers who are just supporting the collation officer. Actually, the one to do the collation is the returning officer.
So if they change the title, the NDC will be okay.
I am saying that remove that. We told them remove that collation name from it. We have no problem with it. So that nobody will go at the collation center and be thinking that this is the officer who is in charge of collation of results in that constituency.
Okay, grateful to you. Let me bring in, Evans Nimako, who is Director of Elections and Research of the NPP. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. The NDC, on the other hand, seem to disagree with the EC for that creation. You fall on line with them that this is not in the CI that regulates the elections, then therefore there's no need to create such an office.
Well, thank you very much for having me speaking to your listeners. I think for us, if you really followed this whole process, you will not raise any fuss about this arrangement that has been put together by the Electoral Commission. Let the point be made. Our results will be announced in all polling stations. From 8A, which is the parliamentary result sheet, from 8B, which is that of presidential, when they are signed and announced by the presiding officer, copies are given to all agents or candidates. The presiding officer then proceeds to the collation center. So, for instance, when you take Ayawasu Central constituency, and there are 200 polling stations, you will expect at the collation center the returning officer to receive from all the 200 presiding officers from 8A and from 8B. What is expected of the returning officer is to enter them into Form 1C, upon which all calculations will be done. So you sum up from polling station 1 to polling station 200 and see the vote obtained by candidates. This is manual transmission of results from polling station to the collation center. The EC now says that in order that the returning officer will get his summation right, let there be an officer responsible for summing up the results from all the 200 polling stations by using a computer Excel document or Excel file. That is all about it. The CI 127 says that the EC may appoint officers to conduct the election. But in doing so, they must not be biased, they must be fair. And in the discussion today, the EC said, in order that we deepen our transparency and objectivity, let us have this person who assists the returning officer so that the summation they will give will be right.
But have you as a political party been engaged earlier or been informed about the proposal to create such a nomenclature in the system?
My brother, I said if you followed elections and you've been part of the process, you know raise about this. The New Patriotic Party is keeping its eye on the ball. We are still campaigning for our presidential candidate. And so these are not the things that will engage our attention. What will be the role of that collation officer? That will be inconsistent with what the returning officer will do. The returning officer has 2 deputies. There's also a DEO. In order that they will get their calculation right, the New Patriotic Party is not going to raise issues about this. So, if you understand, but you see,
yeah, I get it, but I mean,
Omande Boama and Dr. Sanko keep on raising questions that are really answered in the CI. For instance, question is asked: how are you going to submit the result sheet from polling station to the collation center, and who will receive it when it is already stated in the CI 127? I think because they are first in doing this assignment for their party, They keep on raising issues that do not demand our attention. Please.
So you are not bothered by it, but you are a stakeholder, and whatever changes is coming up, you need to be informed or you need to be involved. That's why I was asking whether you are aware of this earlier.
If this was a major change to the order, I mean the ECOWAS protocol even mentioned that when it comes to elections, and there's going to be major changes to the rules and regulations, political parties will have to be consulted. And you know what? When the EC made the proposal to amend the CI, NDC in Parliament said they are not interested. This is just a desk officer to assist in collation. It is not going to take away the primary document. The primary document from 8A, from 8B, parties have all been given copies. And we are not doing electronic transmission. What is fast about this?
Well, let me bring in Tanko again. Tanko, we're just some very few days to the election. You believe that the EC should not be engaging in this. How can we get this addressed so that we can move on? Few days to the election, we don't have a lot of time. Hello, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. Do I still have you on the line? Okay, I think that we're having difficulties, but this is the issue about appointment of a coalition officer to the constituency and regional coalition centers, and that's where the political parties disagree with that decision with the Electoral Commission, that why you are appointing coalition agents to these centers when it is not in the law to create that. But we also have on the line Reverend Oponi Frimpong, former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. He's also CEO of the Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa, and they have been giving the opportunity to monitor the 2024 election. Let me bring him in at this point. Doc, so I mean, you've monitored elections over the years though now. Okay, I'm told that, but let me try and bring in Rashid Computer if we have him on the line. But Evans Nemako is still here. Evans, so for you, where we are at this moment, in terms of preparation for the election, just a few days away, about 8 days away, do you think we are ready for the elections?
My brother, the new Patriotic Party is ready. Our presidential candidate is ready for the election. All our candidates in constituencies, president is ready. The vice president, who is our presidential candidate, has been ready. Yesterday, you heard him at campaign when he was there to sign the peace pact. He said peace is possible. We are ready. We've seen that before, during, and after this election, there must be peace in Ghana. You have Ghana becoming victorious and nothing but victory for Ghana. So this is the test we all have to participate. But I can assure you that the new Patriotic Party is ready to go through this exercise and come out victorious. We've submitted to the good people of Ghana a superior manifesto. They've bought into it, and I can assure you, vote that will be cast on the 2nd December and that of 7th December. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will make the vote that will help him constitute government January 7, 2025.
Right.
The new Patriotic Party.
Evans Dimako is Director of Elections and IT for the Director of Elections and Research for the NPP there. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Coming up next is Ghana Connect with Kweku Asante.